I'm Evan Hofer. I'm playing the role of Dave. Dave is the younger of the two Truett boys, and he's a real sweetheart. He's just kind. He's just a kind guy who's just trying to help anybody in any way he can, and is just always there to offer it up. It's the story of two brothers dealing with the troubles of life and challenges people face, and some troubles that people haven't had to face that are tough. And it's about their journey and finding a way to guide them and deal with the troubles of life. I really was drawn to the brothers' relationship and how close they were, and how they're really the only people that the other one has in the world. They only have each other in the beginning, and so I think that's really great, that this bond that they have, and that really drew me to it. Tanner is undeniably the charismatic portion of Zach. He's like that all the time. So I'm watching him out here, and he's a phenomenal actor, and he's great at what he does, but he's like this all the time. He's just charming all the time. And so I think it was phenomenal casting, and he's been really stepped up and been a great older brother to me since we've been here, and we've become great friends, and I've really enjoyed spending time with him.
Well, Louise is a woman who lives in a small town, runs a general store, and Zach and Dave are her godchildren. She's known them since they were born. She was good friends with their grandmother and, of course, their mother. So she's taken over the responsibility of raising them since grandmother died a long time ago, and their mother died when they were young. Well, what drew me to it is Jake McIntyre and I are friends, and he told me about 5 years ago that he was writing this movie, Run the Race, and he sent me the sizzle reel, and I encouraged him to, keep going and try to get it made, and sure enough, 5 years later, he contacted me and he said, "I got the money, we're shooting in Birmingham, are you in?" So yeah, I read the script and I loved it, and it's really great to be here to see somebody who had a vision and has realized it. It's a story about family and the struggles that families have, and two teenage boys who are, coming of age and learning how to navigate all of the challenges that come with growing up. Well, it's a story about life, and sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't, but I think it's important for people to see how a character deals with the challenges that they face, and that's what the story's about, and how these two boys overcome numerous challenges in their life. People who love sports, especially football, will love this movie. And I think families will get a lot out of it. As I said before, it's about two boys who are coming of age, and how they deal with their struggles, and how they struggle with their issues, and the people in their lives who give them wisdom and advice, and also people in their lives who show them the path not to go down. I think that Run the Race is definitely a positive influence. It talks about how forgiveness is so important in one's life, and you don't have to wait until somebody asks for forgiveness in order to begin the work of forgiving that person. Doesn't mean you excuse them, but you forgive them, it lifts the burden off of you so you can move forward in your life.
Ginger is, she's a perfect balance of sugar and spice, which I think is really important. And she has a really authentic strength about her, and it doesn't seem to come from any kind of inorganic veneer that she tries to put up. I think it comes from the fact that she has a very strong sense of focus and a very strong sense of faith. I think there's a little bit of everything in this with their journey. So they have a lot of sarcastic humor and quick wit, and there's a lot of really genuine, loving moments, and then there's a lot of times when he's a jerk and has to apologize. So I think it touched upon a nice emotional trail, and I thought that the characters complemented each other pretty well, because they both had things that were important to them, and in different parts of the script they both were courageous enough to be honest about certain things, which I think is hard to do, and obviously led to some conflict in the script. But I liked that they had the courage to be honest with each other. Zach and Dave's relationship is the epitome of two brothers. I mean, they have it all. They are loving towards each other, which is very evident. It's interesting to see even kind of behind the scenes how they lived together and shared a car and had to do all these brotherly things, but they're constantly joking around. They're very funny. But when push comes to shove, they're 100% there for each other, because I think they realize, you know, you're all I have. And in a town like this, in a story like this, that's everything. Your family, whether it's your chosen family or your blood family, is everything. I just want them to leave this film feeling like there is something greater than us that is working on your behalf at all times, that always has focus on you. You are never alone, and whether you can feel it or not, that you have one heck of a teammate that's looking out for you. And this life is a beautiful thing if you can learn how to navigate through it, and just know that you're supported in really, really immense and loving ways.
Tend to be films that entertain us, but films that make us think. If you make people think when they watch entertainment, and luckily as I've gotten younger, I've gotten to get closer to doing things that I have heart for, that I enjoy. I like movies that make you think. I like films that have some sort of cinematic nutritional value. In a movie like Run the Race, which was at its core life-affirming, and there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of movies that are not, and they're well made, but I think this one is life-affirming, and that it's good to balance that in our diet, to have something that you go, oh, that made me feel good about being a human being. That made me feel good about being American. That movie inspired me. That movie showed me something. And I thought that was a cool risk to take.
I like this character. He's a small-town coach, high school coach. He's an athlete himself, and he hit a maturation ceiling with his career, and a lot of his hopes and dreams are lined up in these two boys and their amazing abilities. So he loves them. He's sort of a father figure to them, because their father, they're on the outs with their own dad. You know, he's an absentee dad who abandoned the boys and is definitely in need of making a journey back. So my character is, in a sense, his replacement. It's a movie about young men becoming men and what they're willing to do to make that happen. It's also about their choices and the kinds of people they choose and the kinds of decisions that they make. And it really shows when you make a good decision, the result, and when you make a terrible decision. This film shows that result too, and I like that. It's a great reality check. This is one of the films that everybody can see. An entire family can see this film. Unfortunately, Hollywood has taken a turn and it's out of balance now. I think when I was coming up, there were more films that you could watch with your family than not. Now it's the flip side of that coin. There's more films that you cannot watch with your family than you can actually watch with your family. That was another reason I gravitated toward this film, is because you can't forget the children. The thing for me that's most special about Zach and Dave's relationship is they never let anything come between them. Their family, their mom is gone, their dad is gone, the dad is out of the picture entirely. One of them, Zach, is capable of loving his father unconditionally. I mean, Dave is, and Zach is challenged by it. But Zach and Dave strengthen one another. I love the fact that they make a go of it and raise themselves. Some days they have no food in the refrigerator. Other days there's food on their porch waiting for them because the community is reaching out and people will step up to help these kids out. It's cool. That's what a community should do.
And Zach is a kid struggling with his faith and struggling with what he wants to do with his life, and he's had some hard things happen to him. Zach, he has a plan. He knows what he wants his plan to be, and he knows exactly how he's going to get out, and he knows who's coming with him. You know, he knows him and Dave are going to do it together, and it doesn't, you know, nothing goes his way. Zach and Dave's relationship. I think it's cool that they're so different. I think it's cool that they're so different, but still so close. You know, like they just have very different perspectives on life, and what's happened to them has changed them in different ways.
You know, it's about brothers, it's about family, it's about what you go through, it's about struggles, which we've lived through and we've gone through, and that hit my heart really hard. And having Timmy alongside this journey to tell this story has been incredible. And, you know, there's a story behind the story, even making this movie. And so it's been special to me to go through this journey of telling the story with Timmy. And, you know, it's been awesome, but I think, you know, just having the opportunity to do something, to tell a story and impact, hopefully a lot of lives, has been really awesome and special.
And I think the other thing that's really special is that, you know, we've been invited to be a part of a lot of different projects and a lot of different movies, but didn't necessarily know what was right or when it would be right. And sometimes you never know when exactly is right, and you just gotta kind of jump in. And for us, you know, and for me, I wanted to do that on a project that I was passionate about. And this was a story and a project I was passionate about, and there were a lot of other things we could have got involved in that would have been easier, that would have been with, you know, made it a lot easier on me and us as being first-timers in this industry. But I think this was just, it felt right, and it felt like God was in it, and felt like the right story to tell.
We wanted to tell the story and make a movie that was real and it was genuine and that people could relate to, because it's, you know, the tough times that people go through every day and all the time, and the struggles are real. You know, we wanted to try to make something that was just good, and hopefully people really like it, and hopefully it tells a story about you know, things that everybody goes through. And, you know, it's family, it's brothers, it's it's a lot of things, but it's not just the struggles, it's the journey, and it's how you go through it together with family. And it's what we don't always know the plan of what happens and what comes out on the other side, but you go through it together, and you know, that's the part that makes it awesome, is doing it together. And then, you know, God's got a special plan for everybody, and it's amazing to go through that with family and with, you know, I think the thing about this movie too is it's a story about two brothers that disagree and don't always get along, but they have each other's back. And so, you know, it's about fighting, going through that the struggle together. And then, but you know, hopefully this movie is just real and it comes off authentic.
There's something to this narrative that is powerful, that I believe that was you know, inspired by God. That was a story of adversity, of trials, of tribulation, but that in the midst of all of that, that we can have hope and we can be an overcomer in knowing Christ. And I think it hit so many different elements for me, whether that was sports, it was relationships, it was Jesus, it was parents, it was so many different things that I think young people are going through. And one reason why I think this movie has a chance to be really effective is because it touches so many passionate, purposeful elements that young people are going through. And I think it really touched me as well. I love being a part of storytelling and being able to share something that's so inspirational and so much courage and conviction behind it. When I read the script, first of all, I cried like probably 4 or 5 times, and just decided this is something that I want to be behind. I'm extremely close with my brothers and my sisters, so you know, understanding that struggle between two brothers was something that definitely captured my heart. But at the same time, I think just seeing the perseverance and the determination in the story and how that can pay off at the end, and it'll pay off in relationships, it'll pay off in the field, and just how valuable of a lesson that really is. This story has a lot to do with courage and overcoming obstacles, and that obstacle could be a relationship, it could be an illness, it could be a dream, and it's continuing to fight for that relationship, for your family, for your dreams, and never giving up. I think this story relates to a lot of different people because all of us go through obstacles. All of us are in relationships that don't always go the way that we want them, and sometimes we have to go through hardships. This will relate to the young boy that has a goal of being an athlete one day. This will relate to the families that are hoping that their kids will grow up with high character. It's not just a story about football, it's a story about family, it's a story about courage, it's a story about relationships, and ultimately it's a story that in everything that God has a special plan for your life, and you'll never know until you get to see the picture one day how He was weaving everything for our good and for His glory. Well, I think the ultimate goal of this film is similar to the ultimate goal of our foundation. Our goal is to bring faith, hope, and love to those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour of need. And hopefully this film is something that will encourage people, so no matter what they're going through, it's going to you know, make them believe, okay, take one more step, encourage them, inspire them, whatever. But more than anything, we just hope that they can understand that there's an awesome plan for their life. It might be hard right now, but God's got you. In the middle of everything, God still has a special plan for your life, and to take heart and continue to have that courage and keep fighting, because you never know what God's doing in your life with whatever you're going through and how you can come out the other side.